5 mind games narcissists use to control your mind. Have you ever walked away from an argument feeling confused? Ever thought you knew exactly what happened? Have you ever caught someone lying only to find yourself apologizing by the end of the conversation? Or maybe you have spent hours trying to explain your pain to someone only to leave feeling like you were the problem. If this sounds familiar, you may not have been dealing with a misunderstanding. You may have been trapped inside a psychological game, because narcissists rarely control people through force. They control people through confusion. And that's what makes their manipulation so dangerous. You don't realize what's happening while it's happening. You only see through the damage afterwards. The self-doubt, the anxiety, the constant questioning of your own reality. Today we are going to expose 5 of these common mind games narcissists use to manipulate your emotions, control your thinking, and keep you trapped in a cycle of confusion. And the final one is so destructive, many survivors spend years recovering from it. Game 1. The I don't understand game. One of the narcissist's favorite tactic is pretending not to understand. You explain why you are hurt. You explain why something they did was inappropriate. You explain your feelings clearly, calmly, respectfully, and somehow they still don't understand. Or at least that's what they want you to believe. They look confused, bewildered, almost innocent, as though basic empathy is some impossible puzzle they have never encountered before. But think about it. If they were watching a movie and saw someone cheating, lying, or manipulating other person, would they understand it was wrong? Of course they would. If a stranger treated them the same way they treated you, would they recognize the behavior as harmful? Absolutely. So why does their understanding suddenly disappear when they are the one being confronted? Because confusion protects them from accountability. The moment they admit they understand, they may have to admit they hurt you, and that's something their ego cannot tolerate. So instead, they force you into an endless cycle of explanation. You explain and they pretend not to understand. You explain again and they remain confused. Eventually, you are exhausted. Not because the issue was complicated, but because the conversation was never designed to reach understanding. It was designed to wear you down. And once you are exhausted, you stop pushing, which is exactly what they wanted. Game 2. Attack the person who exposed them. Let's imagine you finally catch them. You discover a lie. You uncover manipulation. You have proof. For a brief moment, you think you have reached the point where they can no longer deny reality. But then something strange happens. Instead of discussing what they did, they immediately start discussing you. Suddenly, you are too emotional, too sensitive, too critical, too demanding, and too angry. Notice what's happening? The spotlight quietly shifts away from their behavior and onto your reaction. And before you know it, you are defending yourself. You are explaining why you are upset. You are trying to prove you are not overreacting, and you are trying to justify your emotions. Meanwhile, the original issue has disappeared. That's the goal. Because the moment you are defending yourself, they no longer have to defend themselves. And this tactic works incredibly well because most healthy people assume that if someone is criticizing them, there must be something worth examining. So you look inward, you self-reflect, you question yourself, while the narcissist avoids accountability entirely. That's where things begin to get dangerous. Because the next game doesn't just create confusion, it creates self-doubt. And self-doubt is the foundation of psychological control. Game 3. Whataboutism. Have you ever noticed that whenever you confront a narcissist, the conversation somehow ends up being about something you did 6 months ago or 5 years ago, or something that has absolutely nothing to do with the current situation? That's not an accident. It's a tactic, and it's called whataboutism. Let's say you confront them about a lie. Instead of addressing the lie, they respond with, "Or what about when you got angry last year? Or you are not perfect either." Suddenly, the conversation isn't about their behavior anymore. It's about yours. The goal is simple: distract, deflect, confuse. Because if they can pull you into a debate about your flaws, they never have to address theirs. And here is what makes this tactic so effective. Most healthy people want fairness. So when someone brings up a criticism, you naturally want to examine it. You want to understand whether you have made a mistake. You want to take responsibility if you have done something wrong. The narcissist knows this. They use your conscience against you. Before long, you have completely forgotten the original issue. You are defending yourself, explaining yourself, trying to prove you are a good person, while they quietly escape accountability. Game 4. False acquisitions. Now we move into even darker territory, because sometimes deflection isn't enough. Sometimes the narcissist needs something stronger, so they create a completely different reality. They accuse you of things you never did, motives you never had, intentions you never carried. Suddenly, you are selfish, manipulative, cruel, controlling, abusive. Not because it's true, but because acquisitions put you on the defense. And when you are defending yourself, you are distracted. The conversation shifts from what they did to whether you are guilty of something else. This tactic can be incredibly destabilizing, especially when the accusations are repeated over time, because eventually you start wondering, am I really the problem? What if they are right? What if I am selfish? What if I am abusive? And that's exactly where the narcissist wants you. Not confident, not certain, not grounded, but confused. Because confused people are easier to control. But the next game is perhaps the most devastating of all, because this is the game that makes many survivors question their own sanity. It's the game that turns victims into villains. It's the game that leaves people carrying guilt for things they never actually did. And once you understand it, you will understand why so many survivors spend years trying to recover from narcissistic relationships even after the narcissistic person is gone, because the deepest wounds were never physical, they were psychological. Game 5. Reactive abuse. This is perhaps the most cruel game a narcissist can play, because by the time it happens, you don't realize you are being manipulated. And here is how it works. The narcissist lies, provokes, dismisses, mocks, invalidates, pushes your boundary over and over again, day after day, weeks after weeks, months after months, until eventually you snap, you cry, you yell, you become frustrated, you lose your composure. And the moment you do, they act shocked. Suddenly, they are the victim. Suddenly, they are afraid of you. Suddenly, they are pointing at your reaction as a proof that you are the abusive one. Look at what just happened. Months of manipulation disappeared. The focus shifts entirely onto your response. And that is why so many survivors carry enormous guilt, because they are judging themselves based on their worst reaction, instead of judging the reaction based on the pattern that created it. The narcissist knows this. That's why provoking you becomes a strategy, because if they can get you to react, they can rewrite the story. And once the story changes, they regain control. How to break free. The moment you recognize these patterns, everything begins to change, because manipulation only works when it's invisible. Once you can see the game, you stop participating in it. You stop over-explaining. You stop defending yourself against ridiculous accusations. You stop chasing accountability from someone who has no intention of taking it. And most importantly, you stop making their opinions the measure of your worth, because that's the greatest freedom of all. Understanding you don't need validation from someone committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need approval from someone who benefits from your self-doubt. And you don't need closure from someone who continues rewriting reality. For many survivors, the hardest part isn't accepting that the narcissist manipulated them. The hardest part is accepting how much time they spent blaming themselves. Years spent wondering, was I too sensitive? Was I too emotional? Was I expecting too much? When the real question should have been why I was expected to tolerate behavior that constantly hurt me. And maybe that's the most important thing I want you to remember today. Your confusion was not evidence of weakness. It was evidence that someone was working very hard to keep you confused. Self-doubt was not proof that you were broken. It was proof that your reality was being challenged over and over again. Your pain was never proof that you deserved what happened. It was proof that you were human. Leave a heart in the comments and tell me which of these mind games affected you the most. And if you are on a journey of healing from narcissistic abuse, family trauma, gaslighting, or emotional manipulation, subscribe to the Zen Journey, because the more you understand the game, the less power it has over you. And the day you stop playing the game is the day you are healing truly begins.